What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Moon Boy Podcast. I'm here with DIY Investing, and today we're going to be talking all about the markets and why we think cryptocurrency is setting up for the biggest move we've ever seen. You guys, honestly, the opportunity has not been this big for a really, really long time now. And when I was trading these markets, really back in 2015, 2016, 2017, when I first was learning this stuff, the profit was big, but compared to the potential that we're seeing now, all the new exchanges, all the new places that you can buy it, the abundance of opportunity that we have in the markets is really why we're so excited to share our thoughts on the markets and where it's going, and a few stories about our journeys along the way. Before we get started though, make sure that you hit that like button as well as subscribing to my channel and Donovan's channel. There will be links in the description for both of them, and that is really a way that you guys can start learning with all of our free content, start figuring out how to trade, start making some money in the markets, and then move into the VIP areas where you can accelerate your learning by 1,000%. Make sure that you share this video with your friends because we are dedicated to uploading videos just like this one every single week. And we also do personal daily videos on both of our channels, but we do this podcast every single week and it's always uploaded by Sunday. So let's just go ahead and get straight into our thoughts on the markets. Donovan, what are you thinking about this Bitcoin pump right now? It's been a juicy day.
Yeah, it makes me so excited, honestly. With all of the crap that we've just been going through the last couple weeks, the last month and a half, this is the most refreshing thing that we could have experienced, because realistically this is what we were expecting to kind of play out, something along these kind of same narratives. Expected a big rise that would come out of Bitcoin. We didn't think that, well, at first I didn't think that it was going to pump up this high this quick. We're outpacing all of the other markets right now, and it's exciting to see this. I mean, we're currently sitting at just under 9K right now, which is insane. I think that we're going much higher from here. It's a little bit further up, and then maybe we'll get that short-term correction. But, I think that this is a no-brainer, what we're seeing here, that this was a dip that got bought up very quickly. We saw the most amount of spot buy orders that ever took place inside of Bitcoin's market that happened at about, I think it was just at the crash from about the range of 6K to 3.8. That was the most amount of spot buy orders that we had ever experienced inside of Bitcoin's market structure. And so that just shows you how many people, not only retail, not only exchanges, not only institutions, they were all buying that dip, which is why we're seeing the exact, thing that just happened, where this basically a V bottom at this point. That entire
Perfect
dip is
V bottom,
and you don't see those too often, like you did see. Yeah. Literally though, and you don't see them too often, but when you look back at like the capitulation lows of Bitcoin back in 2014, it would have been like 2015 when we hit about 150 bucks. We got that same sort of thing happen, but on the level that we're seeing right now, this is much, much, much bigger. More money, bigger price swings. Like this is thousands and thousands of dollars compared to like 250 to 150 of a move. So we're seeing a lot bigger, more money entering this market. The fact that we're seeing this type of reaction, people are still in disbelief. I just see buy signal. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with you. And honestly, I've been making way more money at this point in the cycle than I ever did in the last cycle. Some of that, of course, is experience from the previous cycle, 2017, making all that money, 2018. But a lot of it is also just the fact that the markets are so profitable right now. I've never seen a market like this in my entire life. And the whole time, most people are missing out on it because they're just believing what the public wants, everybody to believe, what the people want the public to believe. And, when it comes to Bitcoin and these types of price swings that we're seeing today, we're seeing this now because we just had a huge 80% drop since 2018. And so therefore the market is so undervalued, they can't even hide the fact that they're dumping all of their money into it. Like it's impossible for the whales to hide the fact that they're putting billions and billions and billions of dollars into the markets. If you go to like charts.cointrader.pro, or if you look at the indexes on tradingview.com, like the cryptocurrency total market cap index, you guys will actually find that the volume spikes are ridiculously huge right now. We have more volume in crypto than we've ever seen since its creation. You guys, daily volume right now, my Facebook gives me little memories of stuff that I've posted in the past. And one memory that popped up, I think it was in 2016, I posted on Facebook and I said, Bitcoin is at $7 billion in total market cap. You guys, our daily volume is so much bigger than the total market capitalization of Bitcoin as to when I got into this, that there's money moving around everywhere in the markets, and there's so much opportunity to capitalize on that movement. One thing that I'm kind of watching here in the markets is for the short liquidations to continue, and the reason for this is because I see the S&P 500 as lagging behind Bitcoin, meaning that Bitcoin is literally fueling the next economic cycle. If you think about what happened in the internet, okay, we had the internet bubble, we pumped all the way up in the internet bubble, it crashed, 2003. Well, 2003, the next economic cycle that we saw in the world spawned because of the 2003 undervalued internet stocks. You know, Amazon, Apple, all these different stocks associated with the internet and with computer technology. In 2003, they were undervalued, but they fueled the market cycle that we've seen today, the stock market growth that we've seen today. And that's what Bitcoin is doing right now. And what's interesting is Bitcoin painted a rising wedge, and we were bullish on the rising wedge. We're like, you guys, this is a fake rising wedge. It's shaking people out. It's going to keep going up, and it broke above the resistance of that wedge. The funny thing about the S&P 500, you texted me a picture today, which I thought was really interesting. The S&P 500 has that same rising wedge pattern that Bitcoin did a few weeks ago. It is literally following Bitcoin. Bitcoin is leading and creating the next massive economic cycle that we're seeing in the world.
Yeah, it's extremely exciting to see this, because for the last month, all we've ever heard was how Bitcoin's a risk-on asset. Bitcoin is going to crash because the stock market's going to crash. This is a Great Depression. When, you know, people magically over the last month have just magically forgotten, you know, this is the reasons why we're actually into cryptocurrency right now. It's 100% with all of the market uncertainty on a global scale right now. This is why we've put all of our money into Bitcoin. This is why we've trusted these markets. And now we're seeing Bitcoin breaking out, leading the other markets. Obviously, gold was really that first one to start taking off. But the problem with gold is you're not going to make nearly the same sort of returns. For my spot buy orders I took at 5K, I'm up over 75% already.
On Bitcoin.
Yeah, and that's literally 2-3 weeks worth of time. And, you know, it's really amazing that we do have these opportunities. We're seeing this translated on a global scale. And, you know, I found it really interesting that over the last... You know, just over the last month, I've had a lot of random people messaging me, reaching out to me, asking how to invest in a crypto, what ones to invest in, and just like informing them about all of this new upcoming technology. Because to me, what we're seeing now is this big shakeout of the world, where we're starting to have more awareness come to light. We're starting to have people that are saying, hey, this stuff that's going on in the economy right now, this isn't very good. And, you know, I'm not an expert economist, but I can see that there's some issues that are being portrayed right now. And for that, they start to get online and they start thinking, okay, well, I lost my job, or, you know, who knows if my job's guaranteed for much longer, and, you know, there's all these little issues, inflation, so they start looking online for how to make money. What is making people the most money since...
Crypto.
Exactly. And our generation specifically, you know, there's a lot of people that are older than us, and there's people that are younger than us as well. People that are looking and keeping an open mind towards an opportunity are going to stumble upon this. And with what we're seeing right now, being so close to having, like 9 days away right now, we have all of these perfect catalysts to just create a giant supermoon explosion. And I could not be more excited about that, because we've been preaching this since day one. We've been saying...
Years now.
Yeah, working so hard to tell everybody what's taking place. And now we're seeing that, and it's crazy that we're seeing so much disbelief right now either way. But, you know, I think that
makes
Bitcoin...
sense, but it's still crazy.
Exactly. It makes sense because what we're seeing in the economic stance of America and just the rest of the world in general, this is a big bubble, and we're seeing all of the cracks starting to kind of come to surface. And with all of this hyperinflation, the people that weren't aware about what is taking place are now becoming aware. And this is becoming a great catalyst for Bitcoin price discovery. And with us, you know, having the halving so close away, I think that the next 3 months are going to be very telling for, you know, the longevity of this bull run.
Speaking of the halving, I think that's in, 9 days now?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's 9 days away. And you guys, the thing about, 9 days and 18 hours, the thing about the Bitcoin block halving is, in order for miners, and we've talked about this a little bit in the past, this is more of a fundamental perspective, because really technically I've been bullish on Bitcoin since 3.2 thousand in the last cycle. But from a fundamental perspective, the halving, in order for miners to keep their computers turned on and not have to shut all of them off because they're mining at a loss, the price of Bitcoin has to double because the reward gets cut in half. And so therefore, this event is very, very, very important. And so it's not surprising me any way whatsoever that we're having so much buying leading up to this event. And what you said about the world economies and hyperinflation, what's interesting about the hyperinflation in the world economies is this is not a new thing. Every single time that we've had a fiat currency that is centrally controlled, it gets corrupt, it gets manipulated, it basically becomes a cult of people running the planet. And that cult always fails because you cannot have massive power over free-minded people. The thing is, by nature, humans are free-minded thinkers. You can control and manipulate them for a while, but fear is not a lasting emotion. It will leave, and they will raise their state of consciousness to avoid those fears, and they will awaken to everything that you're doing. And you cannot continue to control people in the same manner forever. Yes. And because of that, Bitcoin is literally our savior from the failing economic system. And we have a divergence in the economy since 2008. That basically means stocks and stuff are going up in value, but real economic value is growing, but it's diverging, meaning that the perceived value is rising, where the true economic value is not rising as quickly. It's still there, it's still growing, but it's diverging. And that leads to economic crisis, economic failure. Now, is this the next Great Depression? I do not think that this move that we've seen because of the COVID panic is the Great Depression yet. You look at Walmart stock, and then you go research, okay, what does a market cycle look like? Walmart stock did its first sell-off not that long ago. It has not reached its full parabolic nature. That is one of the stocks inside of these indexes that panicked. There's going to be another swing up. Maybe not every single stock in the stock market has to rise. There's so many stocks in there that you're going to have ones fluctuating up, other ones fluctuating down. Oil companies will probably do well. Certain other type of maybe overvalued tech stocks might do a little worse. But overall, we're going to have a rise in these indexes and a rise in the economic value in the economic stock market. But there will still be a growing divergence where the value produced for the world is dropping, and that will lead to some type of major correction, but this isn't it.
No, I agree 100%. I like what you brought up about how you can't control a mass of people forever, and I think that what we're seeing is, you could use the analogy of taking like a big recess ball, a big rubber ball, and if you take that and you pull it under the water, you feel that pressure and the air wants to shoot out, and the tighter that you bring that down, the more pressure that builds until finally the pressure becomes too great and something spawns from that. You could look at
like
the
ball, with the beach ball in the water.
Yeah, you could look at this ball as like the world and humanity, and then you could have the pressure being like debt, fear, all of these different things, and it pushes it down until finally Bitcoin, something spawns that is a big wake-up call that says, hey, this is going in the wrong direction, I now have a solution to fix this, and then it comes out. And there's now nothing that anybody else can do about it because this is just the way life works. And then the ball comes popping out again. And this is what I think is taking place right now today. We're seeing, an outdation of old technologies, and we're seeing kind of this new rise of these newer technologies with blockchain technology, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. And this is a perfect hedge against this system. And, the system has created the perfect breeding grounds for Bitcoin. And that's exactly why it will succeed, is because they're trying so hard to stop it.
Yeah.
They're doing everything they could. Their model has been the exact opposite approach of what Bitcoin aims to solve. And so because of that, the farther that they push in resistance, the more pressure
fuels
it's creating.
Bitcoin
Exactly.
even further.
Exactly. And, with hyperinflation, that's not good. With hyperinflation, it's going to create a lot of, like you said, perceived value, but in actuality, that real value of which it's rising is not actually as high. And so this is kind of like, we're at this exciting point where everybody wants to see Bitcoin move and moon, but the problem is the fact that this mooning could often be just an enhancement of the inflation itself. And so by buying Bitcoin, everybody wanted to just get super filthy rich, but now we're at this point where I believe buying Bitcoin is actually you just hedging from this failing system.
And getting filthy
Yeah,
rich.
yeah, and that's the cool thing is we're going to stop valuing things in terms of dollars, and then that's when we make the switch. Now, I'm not going to say that we're going to start valuing everything in terms of Bitcoin, but digital scarcity will reign supreme. And, there's only ever 21 million Bitcoin. That's not counting how many Bitcoin are just lost forever because nerds way back in the day, they mined a bunch of thousands of Bitcoin, and then they threw away their computer or something, forgot they even did that, and now Bitcoin's worth, $10,000, and they would have been millionaires, but they don't have the keys. There are so many Bitcoin that are lost in that exact same situation. Somebody's sending it to a missing address that doesn't exist. These are all perfect catalysts that we have. We have this 21 million Bitcoin. Who knows, maybe 20% of that is missing forever. So what if there's only 17, 18, 19 million Bitcoin out there? Something along those lines. We don't know, and we don't have a way to track all of the volume that's being transacted on the Bitcoin blockchain. And that's the issue that we have, because if we had the total amount of volume of the money, if we had institutions that were tracking how much Bitcoin was being moved, we'd be able to see a deeper understanding of what Bitcoin are laying dormant, what Bitcoin are being moved a lot, and types of things like that. And, with this digital scarcity being so prevalent and really underlooked right now, I do believe that over the next 10 years, and even less time than that, we're going to start to see that awakening spawn where people are going to start viewing things as, this dollar can just be printed endlessly. There's just a centralized authority that just dictates how much they're going to print. And so when they start to branch out into these different sort of technologies, they're going to look at Bitcoin, they're going to look at other cryptos and say, okay, there's a capped supply, there's only ever going to be this many created, the inflation rate is so significantly lower than the dollar, and a lot of these cryptocurrencies are immutable, unhackable, and you can't do a lot of things. Not all of them are unhackable, and that's kind of its own gray area, but the amount of safety that it provides, the amount of security that it provides, it's so much vaster than anything that we see today, which is why we're going to see such a big rise. And owning one Bitcoin, to put that into perspective of scarcity, I've said this a lot, there's 43 million millionaires in the world today. There's not even enough Bitcoin out there for every millionaire to own one. And when the masses start to wake up, and then these millionaires that have enough money laying around that can actually do something like that, it's going to be too expensive for them to actually do that. And so right now, they can own for every millionaire to buy a Bitcoin, they can own a third of a Bitcoin. Now, the reason why that's impossible is for the exact reason because of scarcity. So out of that reason, there are, out of the 100% of Bitcoin investors and holders of Bitcoin, 1% of those people own 90% of that supply. And so it's already even more scarce, and it's not like every millionaire could even own a third of a Bitcoin, because the amount of people that are holding so much of that supply is so much greater, which is why it's going to drive these bigger price swings, which is why when the masses catch on to this, it's just going to be astronomical. I don't think that we will ever see a bull run like Bitcoin over the next, 4, 5, 10 years approximately.
Yeah, I agree. There's always new technologies that get developed. There will be things in the future. And because of the fact that life accelerates in nature, we will probably in our lifetime see another thing. I mean, in my lifetime, there was the internet, and now there's Bitcoin. So I do think there will be a thing that provides opportunities like this, but it's going to be like 10 years away, maybe longer. And it will be so early at that point that you'll want to even wait a little while for some infrastructure to be developed before you overinvest into it. And so really, unless you want to wait 20 years for the next big thing, buy Bitcoin today. Buy Bitcoin today. And that is what I preach to everybody, because definitely there's going to be new technologies, new things that accelerate, but it's going to be so far away. I'm trying to find the exact world money supply.
Demonocracy.info, but that's also outdated as well.
Okay, I did find this. MarketWatch.com says 544 trillion.
Total money?
Yeah.
That's closer than Demonocracy is.
So I think that is very interesting. If you have 544 trillion in world money supply valued in the dollar, and then Bitcoin is 165 billion in total market cap, we're literally at the very beginning of this.
Yes.
And to try to fight that trend of all of that money going into it, first of all, U.S. debt, it's going into Bitcoin. U.S. debt, what is it, 23 trillion, 24 trillion? There's a place.
Yeah.
U.S. debt. Let's see what it is.
Global debt's over 200 trillion, I believe. 200
trillion. So all debt will be put into cryptographical assets, and the reason for this is because debt is hard to deal with when you have to trust people through a contract basis, or when you can use smart contracts like what the Ethereum platform provides. All of a sudden debt is workable, manageable, programmable. So, this 24 trillion in US debt that I'm seeing right now on the usdebtclock.org, and then the world's debt is actually very, very correlated, and those two debts are going to go into Bitcoin, and not only Bitcoin, but smart contracts, cryptocurrency in general.
Blockchain.
And so when you're talking about 252 billion versus 24 trillion, that gives you a small peek into how much these markets are going to grow.
People don't understand that real estate itself is over $250 trillion market itself. That's not counting derivatives. That's not counting, all of these different markets that we have. We have debt. We have all of these different
black markets, underground markets. All of those things are also just completely not even listed.
Yeah. There's so much money out there. And through blockchain technology, this will be the first time in history we will ever have a way to track all of that, ever. For the first time ever, we're going to have an open global market where people can transact real estate. It's similar to that already. You can buy, real estate in other countries, but there's so many different legalities that you have to jump through. Through smart contracts, we just cut through all that crap. And through smart contracts, we can now, transact through Bitcoin, we can transact through whatever different cryptocurrency, and we can value and peg whatever our real estate is to that of a cryptocurrency, and we can transact that instantly, and that person now has that value of whatever land that is. People they underestimate how powerful that actually is. If we can cut through all of the legalities of government, and I can just talk to you, and I can trade you my land over a network that'll arrive with you in the hour, do you know what that is going to bring for the wealth? And if you even if that's years away, this is what we're talking about. This is what blockchain technology solves. And through cryptocurrencies, this is going to be how we transact all of that value. And so it's not like $250 trillion of real estate value is going to go into Bitcoin. It's like, let's take 1% of that and put it into Bitcoin. Let's take 1% of the debt and put that into Bitcoin. Bitcoin's already worth over $500,000, and that's it. Like, at that point, you've made enough money that you're set for the rest of your life in most cases. If you're holding altcoins, they're going to just mimic Bitcoin and just perform even greater. And so the fact that we have this type of revolutionary technology, it's hard to even put it into grasp how life-changing it is, because we've never had anything like this before. And now that we're starting to, we make these podcasts and we talk about this stuff, and it brings to light, and it is even further confirmation within me that we're on that right path, and what we're doing to everybody else that watch this, because this is going to create the biggest explosion, wealth transfer, the biggest explosion in knowledge, resources, abundance. All of this is going to spawn from cryptocurrency. Imagine, the Industrial Revolution. Imagine that 100x. That's going to be blockchain and cryptocurrency, in my opinion.
And people like what you were just saying about only taking 1% of all of those markets and putting it in, and then Bitcoin's already worth over 500,000 per coin. People, when they hear this type of stuff, it's easy to be like, man, that's a lot. That's easy to talk like that. But do you know like what the world economy looks like, or do you know like this, that, or the other thing? That is what's fueling what's coming. That's literally the variables that are fueling what is about to happen that we're speaking of today. And one statistic I heard in the past was that if 3% of the Forex market entered Bitcoin, it's well over $1 million per coin. 3% of the Forex market.
Which all of that would most of that would translate into Bitcoin.
All of it is going to become into the cryptocurrency markets, because nobody is going to use fiat in the future. We are going to have digital tokenized everything because we are moving into the digital revolution.
It's exciting.
Even more so than crypto, think of the trend of digitalization, virtual reality, 3D printing. That's literally where we can digitalize a spoon, we can digitalize sunglasses, and then we can send that file to somebody else across the planet. They can extrude it out with a 3D printer and have a pair of that same pair of sunglasses within hours. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even have to be shipped, because shipping stuff is it's good, but
it'll be slower.
It's slower than just literally giving person a file that they can just print it over wherever they're at on their own. So everything is becoming digitalized, whether you like it or not. And that trend, to fight that trend, is literally like trying to swim upstream when a river is roaring. Yeah. Like, you're not going to be able to swim upstream. You will probably get stuck in a whirlpool and sucked under and die. Mm-hmm. And that's just the truth of the situation. And you cannot stop the world money supply from growing either, because try to stop everybody from having kids. Good luck.
Yeah,
like, people are going to have kids. There will always be new people, new value provided, and the world will become richer than our wildest dreams.
I agree 100%. And, it's exciting to hear all of these big numbers, like, okay, $1 trillion could come into Bitcoin, 1% here, 1% there, pretty soon Bitcoin's over $1 million per coin. What's really exciting about all of this is we're going to stop valuing things as dollars. And now there's only 21 million Bitcoin ever. So if there's trillions and trillions of perceived dollars that are going to be from all of this different markets that are now entering cryptocurrencies, entering Bitcoin, it's so scarce. It's more scarce than any asset in the entire world. It's more scarce than gold. It's more scarce than silver. It's the most scarce asset that we have, and it's digital. And so our entire infrastructure of society will be running on that. And because of those reasons, you can't even put it into perspective in your own head how valuable Bitcoin is, because it becomes invaluable at that point.
Yeah.
Because it is what is running the entire system. If Bitcoin was the first piece of technology to implement blockchain tech, there's a reason for that. There's a reason it's going to survive as long as it will. And because it's so scarce, that is just... we haven't seen anything like that before. And people can fake gold. They can manipulate gold to some extent. Paper trading, that's another sort of thing, even though that's now for Bitcoin as well. But there's a lot of times where tainted gold supply happens, where people will taint the supply, put in different sorts of metals with it.
Because they can adjust the supply or say that there's more. Scientists will go out and take dirt samples and say, oh, there's this much gold in the dirt, when really the amount of gold in the dirt samples is way higher than what they're saying.
They just can't tell.
To drive the value.
So it's more manipulated for that exact reason. And so gold itself might not even be that scarce. We literally might have so much in our earth that we are just under this belief system. Same with oil.
Well, even if it's not on this earth, the galaxies, the stars, asteroids have platinum, gold, all of these minerals. We can figure out how to mine them, and we can bring them back to Earth. There's an abundance of precious metals in this world.
Exactly. And so, once again, it just proves to the point, Bitcoin, you can't create more. There's only ever going to be the certain amount that are out there. So by you owning a piece of that is insane. You're owning part of the internet, and that's what I think. Not only just the internet, but the internet of
world.
Things. Yeah, because everything's going to be communicating. Your computer already communicates with you, but your camera,
your mouse, all of this type of stuff, computer will be communicating with
all of the other stuff. It's going to be insane. You're going to be able to have an entirely new network that is, a layer over the internet itself. And then all of these little things are going to be able to communicate. We're going to be able to track all of these different products from distributor to shipper to consumer. All of these different things that we've never been able to do before. And all of this is going to create not only a lot of wealth and abundance within ourselves that have been early investors, but the entire world. We're now going to be able to get those resources to the people that need them. We're going to be able to put RFID chips on those transports, and we're going to know exactly where they're going wrong, where they're being manipulated, And we're now going to be able to have those solutions that are going to easily cut through the government bullcrap, all these regulations that actually make it harder for people to get the things that they need. We're going to be able to issue a smart contract on a decentralized blockchain operating system, and we're going to be able to just do whatever anybody wants in more of a capitalistic type of way. And that's free market in a way that we've never seen before. I thought when we got really close with America and what our founded fathers have been doing for a while, we've gotten out of those ways and we've corrupted ourselves. But through cryptography, through blockchain technology and these things, we now no longer have to trust anybody because we can create that ourselves.
Yep.
And that's special.
And that alone will actually cause everybody to trust each other.
Yeah,
it will literally be the catalyst to world peace, in my view, because the fact that we don't have a reliable system makes it so we blame the people when really it's the system. And so as we fix the system, all of a sudden we start to see the true human nature coming out, which is abundant and giving and loving and caring. That is the true, genuine human nature. The only reason we fall out of that is because of bad systems for management of civilization.
Right.
And that's what cryptocurrency really changes for us. And, huge shout out to my grandma, because she actually just put her entire stimulus check into Bitcoin, her entire life savings. She's literally putting everything into Bitcoin. And, she grew up not having an abundance of different things in times of scarcity and not having a lot of money. And just to be able to see her putting into Bitcoin and know what's coming for her is one of the most joyful things I can experience in my life. Just like how my mom has Bitcoin, just like how my little brother has Bitcoin, just like how my older brother has Bitcoin, just like how you have Bitcoin. I'm so thankful. And all of the viewers, all of the people watching this video that have Bitcoin, altcoins, your favorite cryptos, we love you for supporting this market and for being part of this. And we know that you will be greatly rewarded. I know you'll be greatly rewarded for your faith and for your ability to walk out on a little bit of a limb and trust what's coming in the world in a time where everybody else is scared. You can see yourself as somebody that has inner clarity.
And that's the most important thing of all. You keep your vision clear, you know exactly where your sights are set. It's only a matter of time before everything falls into place. As long as you keep that mindset, you're going to keep going on your path. And all it takes is one little experience, one little opportunity, and it sparks a number of other opportunities in abundance. And it's just amazing that it just takes a little bit of momentum. I think about my YouTube channel and how I uploaded for a year and a half and got up to 300 subscribers. And then over the course of 2 weeks, I was able to get all the way up to 3,000. Then it was 10,000. Then now it's over 20,000.
Congratulations, by the way, man. That's so sick. You grew faster to 20,000 than I did. And that was so cool to see.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's all thanks to the supporters out there. And I bring up this simple analogy because all the people out there, whether you're starting a YouTube channel or whether you're just investing in a crypto, $100 here, $100 there, $20 here and there, whatever you can muster, when these markets start to take off, all of a sudden those couple $100 that you threw in over the course of 3 months now equals a couple $1,000. All of a sudden those couple $1,000 a year down the line is $100,000, and now you have enough money to pursue all of your biggest goals, all of your biggest aspirations and desires. And that is important for me. That's why me and him do this stuff, is because at the end of the day, we've seen the success that it's done with our lives. We've seen the success it's brought to other people's lives close to us. And I've always been adamant that I've wanted to be able to give that back to the biggest majority of people, because I've always understood that not having money sucks. It absolutely sucks. And I don't care who tells you anything different. I don't like living without money, because through money I can obtain more of the things that I want. I can travel. Exactly. Freedom. It's the biggest thing. And that's what I want to be able to give back to everybody, because in a time that we live in right now where freedoms are constantly being taken from us, where all of these issues are being plagued through corruption, we now have a hedge that is going to give us more of the things that each and every human being is programmed to desire. This is our core belief system, is freedom. And, for us being Americans, it was 100% what we've been programmed from day one.
It resonated so strongly with us, Bitcoin did.
Yeah. And, we're seeing this, and it's just good feeling to be able to give this back to not only people that are close to us, but to be able to give that back to the community. It's exciting what we're seeing here.
Yeah, and it is so fun to see all of the VIP members and all the VIP members in your group making money and talking with us and asking us questions and having conversations with them and finding out a little bit about them and learning about them. And that is really what drives me to do this. It's so beautiful to see other human beings interacting with each other, growing, learning, and getting a taste of the blessings that I have received in this market. Because you guys, I was depressed, I was anxious, I didn't know where I was going. I thought that my life had no future. I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I had thoughts of suicide. I literally lived in a shack. Like Donovan remembers, he has this picture he sent me just the other day that he took with his Snapchat of this little, from a trailer house. They have those things that slide out. Well, those things that slide out are like little squares. We took one of those and put it on some property. And I was living in a little shack, sleeping on literally like wood, and my back hurt every single night on a teeny little foam, and I was crying myself to sleep because I didn't have a job, and I just was completely lost and scared. And then I kneeled down and I asked God what to do, and I got a strong feeling. And whatever belief system, however you define God, that's up to you, but I got a strong inner feeling that I needed to write down 10 things that were important to me. And among those things were health, wealth, abundance, love, friends, family, travel, knowledge, freedom, those types of things, just to give you a little idea. And since then, all of those things have came into my life. I knew about Bitcoin around that time, but Bitcoin was the conduit for those things to enter into my life through, because then I knew what my purpose was, and that was to become a Bitcoin investor and to go all in on that. I had talked about it in the past that I'd love to be able to trade in and out of the markets. And, it changed my life. And, my cousin, Monson, he just barely put $100 into Digibyte because of one of the signals. And this is the type of signals that Donovan and I provide in our groups. He put $100 into Digibyte. And what you were saying about small amounts can turn into a lot, he's already at over $280 in that trade, just out of a $100 investment, and it just got started. Like, in the big picture, what's coming for Digibyte, he's going to make a lot of money off a $100 investment. And so it can really change your life, starting with little amounts, and that is why it will fix the wealth distribution and provide more wealth for the planet as a whole.
Yeah, and it's a really amazing story, because for me personally, I would not even be here if it wasn't for you telling me about Bitcoin. I think back to those times when you were in that shack, because I really wasn't even in any sort of a better place at that time myself. I remember working on your business in that shack, starting the first Discord, talking to the first people. I'm sure people that watch this know and actually remember it. Yeah, exactly. And that was an exciting point, but it's so interesting because you were at that low point, and because of that, being in that low point, you hit rock bottom and you were able to break out from that, because it's very similar to my own experience with Bitcoin, because at the time, I was in juvenile detention. I was just turned 18. I had my 18th birthday. I had my 17th birthday at a therapy program for juveniles that I was gone for 60 days in the wilderness. And then my 18th birthday, I turned 18 in a juvenile detention center. I remember they made me a piece of cake, and it was the worst cake I've ever had in my entire life. I remember being so sad sitting in there that day. But the one thing that gave me hope in that time of being in detention, the one thing I looked for was the fact 2 weeks before I went there, you told me about crypto, you told me about Bitcoin. I told you that I had these charges that I just had to kind of go about. I told you I turned 18. Yeah, all of these little things. And so, you told me about Bitcoin, and the one time you told me about it, showed me the chart, I knew within myself, there was an inner knowing that I knew. I didn't know anything about trading, knew nothing about investing. I watched one documentary about the Federal Reserve and the corrupt financial system.
That'll do it!
That's all it took. And from that, I went and served my 45 days. I got out. I made the thought in my head that I was going to be better, I was going to do better, and I was going to do the right thing. That led me to, eventually I had a spiritual awakening a few months down the line from that, and I ended up diving into Bitcoin full-heartedly. 2017 rolls around, I have my 19th birthday. And it was right after there that we moved in that apartment together. In 2017, we all know what happened with altcoins. It was life-changing. And it's these types of things. It does not matter where you're at. I was depressed. I've seen so many therapists. I've wanted to kill myself. I've been to psych wards. I've been to therapy programs. I've been to detention centers. I've went through every sort of institution. I've been on pills, all kinds of stuff. At the end of the day, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin was the thing that changed my life more than anything, because I found something that I could direct my energy towards instead of hanging out with the wrong influences, instead of doing a bunch of stuff that wasn't serving me. I branched out, I focused on something that I knew was worthwhile, and because of that, I now have a YouTube channel that I can now pay my bills. I can live sustained by my own means. And I have friends like you that genuinely care, that want to see me succeed, that want to see all of these good things. And it's an amazing experience to be able to share that back with you guys, because we know what it's like to go through hell to get to this point. But because of that, we also understand how it's actually not as hard to get out of that as most would think. When you're in those low points, it's the hardest thing in the world. Exactly, but it's really not.
Yeah, and there's always a path provided for you if you allow yourself to create faith in your own mind. Mm-hmm. If you can have a trust, you can have a trust in yourself, if you can have a trust in life, you will always be rewarded for it. Mm-hmm. And that is, thank you so much for sharing that story with me, Donovan. Because, I of course know it because I've been around you through that story. Mm-hmm. But to hear you articulate it again just really touched me and gave me an even deeper reminder of why I do this stuff. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for sharing that, man.
Of course.
And, it's just the transformation is really what we want to see happen in people now. And to give back, because the more stories that humans can give, the more stories that we can have as a species like that is what's going to make all these problems that we see in the world go away. Mm-hmm. That is what's going to make all of these fears, all of the panic, all of the worries. Oh, is there enough resources? How come so many people are starving in other countries? How come there's corruption in the government? How come there's things that we don't understand that people are doing in this world that seem so dark and evil? The solution is stories like that. And so the more that we can create those for you guys, the more that we can help you in our discords, the more that we can communicate with you and help you have the same transformation, that is what we can do to help make this world a better place. And it's not focusing on the negativity, it's not focusing on the bad things, it's focusing on the transformation.
Yeah, 100%. And for me, this has been the biggest transformation in my life, because, the transformation starts within, and it's my personal belief that once you start changing how you are as a person, you change everything from within, opportunity finds you, and you become a magnet for those sorts of opportunities. Everybody that's watching our channel, everybody that's put money into crypto, you've already made that within yourself. Maybe you've been going through some crap, maybe, you're divorced, whatever it might be, something happening in your life. You found this sort of area at this point in your life for a reason. I don't know what that reason is, but the fact is, through cryptocurrency, you will be able to create life-changing wealth for yourself, and through that life-changing wealth, it's going to amplify who you are as a person. If you don't take the time to, change who you are and create the person that you want to be, your ultimate highest version of yourself. Maybe you follow a religion and there's a godly figure, aim after that person or that deity and become that. And once you do, it's amazing, all of the things that just happen into your life. For me, I was going through a bunch of crap when I moved in with my ex-girlfriend not too long ago, just really bad toxic relationship. And the whole time I was out there, I was just trying so many things, doing the wrong things for the wrong reasons. And I moved back, and I remember moving back and just feeling so thankful that I could just work on my channel. And I didn't even have hardly any subscribers at the time. I got maybe 40 views a video. But all of a sudden, it just took off, and that's all it took, was me changing my state of being, me being thankful that I get to work on this, me being thankful that, even though I went through all this struggle or whatever, I'm now here and I'm able to do the things that I care about. And it was just changing that perspective that just took everything off. And it's going to be the same way for people out here. If they're going through some crap, they're in crypto now, still might be going through some crap, but it makes it a lot easier to go through all that stuff when you've got a couple Bitcoin in your wallet and you got, a few $1,000s in the bank or whatever. It helps a lot to have that stability and that comfort.
Yeah, and And, you know, everybody in their life goes through these cycles. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm sure other people watching this have an experience with, like what you said, divorce, or, you know, relationships that weren't working for you guys, or different things that happen that make you kind of drop your own awareness and drop down into a state of fear, and maybe feel like there isn't the light of the tunnel that I was talking about. Bitcoin is the light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, watching our channel, getting in the Discords, the free areas, getting in the VIP, that is the light at the end of the tunnel, because that is what is going to provide the same things that we were able to provide for ourselves through these things. And we encourage you guys to make YouTube channels. Start a trading channel if you want, you know?
Even if you don't know what you're doing, really, because you're going to learn.
If you're into meditation, or if you're into art, or if you're into what makes you tick. Obviously keep your Bitcoins, but what makes you tick? Start a channel. Start focusing on that. Anybody has the ability to become like that. I'm just a normal guy. Like literally, I'm not super good at math.
Can't spell worth of crap.
I can't spell worth crap. I'm still learning English in so many areas. Every day I'm learning where to put the comma, you know, and where to, you know, and so, but I figured this stuff out.
Yeah.
And I figured out how to make my own channel, and I figured out how to find passion for myself, and I figured out how to make it work. It didn't matter that I didn't know how to spell. It didn't matter that I wrote on the whiteboard women one day instead of woman, and then all my friends are teasing me. It didn't matter all these little things, because big picture, I was set on becoming a better person and helping others do the same. And when your intention, when your why, when your purpose is so clear and so focused, then all of a sudden everything, like you said, falls into place. You become a magnet. It's just the situations, you become an attraction for that in your life. And that isn't to say that there isn't still struggles, there isn't still days where you're a little confused or lost or maybe want to give up. But that is to say that no matter what, through those days, you're gravitating towards your purpose, you're gravitating towards your goal. And then the next day, usually, or a few days later or whatever, bam, you're right back to yourself, feeling like we are right now, talking about the things we are, and creating that value for ourselves and other people.
I agree 100%. It's a beautiful experience. And to touch up on what you said, how anybody can do this, I am literally a high school dropout. I am the kid, I am the person that society says would amount to nothing. On top of that, before I started my channel, I was so insecure. I couldn't walk past a mirror without just like looking at myself and just judging myself and feeling disgusted with everything that I saw in that mirror, because I hated myself. I wasn't comfortable with who I was. I didn't like where I was going. I had no purpose, no direction. And, you know, I started a YouTube channel. I remember, I still have the recordings of my first ever attempt at recording a YouTube video. I saved them. I still have not even watched them because I'm embarrassed to watch them, honestly. Like, it was that bad. But I sat down, I recorded a YouTube video, I edited it, and I uploaded it for the entire world to see. And it took me 2 videos, and I was over that insecurity. That's it.
Yeah.
And anybody can do that. It doesn't matter how insecure you are, how overweight you are, how much, you think life hates you. It doesn't matter. Those are just weird little beliefs that you create in your head. And the second that you just jump full force into what you're scared of, it's amazing how those fears just melt instantly. It's almost instantly. The second that you just start doing whatever it is you're scared about, all of a sudden you're realizing, oh, I'm not even scared about this. This is dumb. Now I'm actually happier than before. And that's just the way it worked for me. I know that there's a lot of people out there, I always get emails, people that want to start a YouTube channel, people that just started a YouTube channel, and it's weird hearing yourself talk on camera. It's weird seeing yourself talk at all and explaining things, and it's embarrassing as heck. I know for a fact how embarrassing
Especially
that is.
at the early stages.
Yeah.
Man.
At this point, the other day I uploaded a video where I burped in it really loud. I got to edit it out, and I had people everywhere in the comments, haha, 1050, he burped, and then just people making fun of me. If that was back when I first started, I don't know if I'd ever upload it again, but I think it's funny, and I laugh at myself now. I edit my videos, I see myself mess up, I think it's funny, and we laugh about it all the time.
Yeah, we do. Later we'll start talking about it and just start laughing so hard because of what people say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, comment your stuff, whatever it is. It's so funny to see them and read all of the different comments and where you're tuning in from and your story, your experiences. In fact, in this podcast, you guys, comment down below your story, why you got into Bitcoin, what is exciting about it, where you see yourself in the future, what your desires are, and let us know. We would love to hear you guys' stories and get a taste of even more of the people, because we get this from our Discords, we get this from our comments, but the more the merrier when it comes to stories like that, because they just lighten up your day and make everything so much better. So yeah, you guys, I'm very excited about the markets. Bitcoin right now, I was just looking at the chart. I mean, even energy that we were talking about a few weeks ago.
Performing well.
Bitcoin. Check out energy, by the way, if you haven't. That bull, the wick, there's one of those test wicks. It's going to go so high, man. Bitcoin is ripping up. We were over 9,000 the other day. We're probably going to keep pushing up the resistance levels.
Bitcoin's 888, baby.
There is a ton of wealth and abundance in all of these different coins. The FUD is out there to scare you. Believe, have faith, believe the cycle. This is the disbelief. It's natural if you feel disbelief towards what's coming. It's natural if you're a little scared after a huge bear market to put in. But like what we were saying, dive into your fear, man. If you dive directly into your fear, you will be rewarded for it. If you just get into the markets and start trusting yourself again a little bit, then all of a sudden, like you said, those fears will just go away, and you'll have inner clarity, you'll have inner peace, and then you'll be able to share that with others. And that's where the real joy comes, is when you start to be able to give other people that same thing.
That's the whole point of this entire channel for me. It's always been able to give back what I've gained and be able to, give that back to the people that follow me, because what we see here is such a good opportunity. We repeat this, beating the dead horse with that one, but it truly is the most life-changing thing for me, and I see that it's going to impact so many people inside of my community, so many people that reach out, ask me questions, email me, reach out to me on Twitter, all of these different places. I see this community, I see this people, and it's an amazing community. People are just very lively. Obviously there's going to be negative people in every community, but more or less I just see an ultimate group of people that honestly just want to see everybody else make money. They want to see, their cryptocurrency go into society and completely revolutionize the way things are working. And at the end of the day, to be able to give that back to you guys is where I find all of my satisfaction. I would never even make YouTube videos if I didn't, because there would be literally no point. I don't make enough off of YouTube to just want to do YouTube every single day. I do this because I appreciate everybody that follows me, and I really do appreciate getting out that knowledge, so more people out there can make this type of money. More people out there can start pursuing their ultimate goals. Maybe you like cryptocurrency but you're not passionate. Maybe you want to pursue something else entirely. You will now have the resources to actually pursue that, and that's the most important thing of all, because the more people that are doing the things that they love, the higher that's going to create the vibration of the entire planet. The less we'll fight, the less we'll have war, the less that we'll need to have all of these different issues, and the more that we can come together with mutual understandings and positive relationships. And that to me is the ultimate goal, and that's, this is just one of the little things that I can do. It's the first step. Obviously we have bigger goals that we want to pursue, but this is a way that I can, give back to the community. I can teach people how to make some money that can change their lives potentially, whether they are able to do that or not, it's up to them. But then this is just my way of kind of doing that back to the rest of the people before I can make money, go into something else, and then impact even more people on a bigger scale. And that to me is the most important thing, and so I'm really thankful to have everybody here supporting.
Yeah, and you guys, as we move into bigger and better things, the bigger and better things that we're moving into are cryptocurrency related, so don't think that you won't see our faces. We are actually going to be, I personally am probably going to be talking on my YouTube channel for the rest of my life. As we move into bigger and better things, we are going to even expand this awareness, expand this value, this wealth in an even bigger way for everybody. And this right here, cryptocurrency, is the biggest and best thing right now. And that's one of the reasons you guys need to be getting into it.
Buy the coin.
Yeah, exactly. Buy Bitcoin, you guys. It's it's your way out. It's your light at the end of the tunnel. I think that's pretty much everything I want to go over in today's podcast episode. We love and appreciate every single one of you. Again, hit that like button for us if you enjoyed this podcast, if you got some value out of it. Also, check out our VIP courses so that you can accelerate your learning even quicker and take all the knowledge that we've learned for the past 5 years and consolidate it from books, from courses, from experience, and get it all in one place. We also do support, messaging us, asking us questions. We get back with you, we talk with you, we have an open conversation about what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve by investing. So that really is the best place to start learning this stuff.
Yes.
We really appreciate you tuning in to today's episode. Make sure you share it with your friends, and we will see you next week on the Moon Boy Podcast. As always, stay profitable out there.